I want to show you the shaking of an old mindset. In between 1999 and 2001, the British government sold about 395 tons of gold. They wanted to diversify. Just follow me for a second. The sale generated about $3.5 billion at the time. That's about $6.4 billion in 2024. What's interesting is if they'd have held on to the gold and sold it at today's price, which is that's probably about almost $400 off, they would have generated $37.6 billion. Now, the interesting thing is Europe had a hole, a $26 billion black hole. In other words, they had a shortage. If they'd have sold that in January at the prices then, they'd have more than made up for that $26 million hole. But they sold it early. The interesting thing is, why would they do that? Because this guy right here is an expert. You know, we love to listen to experts. And this expert told the Great Britain News that the sale made sense at the time because gold had performed poorly as an investment for many years. I'm going to get to why we're talking about gold in a second. He also argued that the launch of the euro provided the opportunity to diversify UK reserves into a new currency expected to rival the dollar. You know, be careful who you take counsel from. He gets to keep going on saying he's an expert, but you just lost that kind of money? That's a lot of money. And you lost it for a nation. As it turns out, between 1999 and 2024, the price of gold increased by an average of 8% annually. You blew it big time, but you're an expert. Now, why am I saying this? No problem. The global change in gold and silver as a financial security. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you this so you won't think I'm saying something else. The world is starting to go to gold and silver, but it's not the people like you and I. The world is going to it because, I'll just be honest, the world's economies are horrible. They are horrible for real. Remember we started off saying that God is shaking this world and its systems? Yes. This is what's going on. So they're looking for some place to put things. Okay, gold beat the U.S. stocks. Most people were talking about what happened in the stock market last year. Stock market last year done really good, really good. Gold was better. Stock market was good, gold was better. Now, gold prices rose 26.5% in 2024. 26.5%. 26.5%. Just making sure, yeah, you know that's good. I mean, I thought it was good. I mean, Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan projected that gold would crack the 3,000 level this year. This is what they said in 2024. That's what they said. That's what happened. So it wasn't just good last year. Silver remained below its all-time high. Silver's all-time high is about $50. Silver was up 20% in 2024. There's something called gold-silver ratio. Basically, it's how much silver it takes to buy 1 ounce of gold. How many ounces of silver it takes to buy 1 ounce of gold. What's interesting is it's been demand from other regions of the world, not the United States. Steady central bank buying. Central banks are the banks that loan money to the banks. So they're buying not dollars. So I wonder what that means. What's interesting is gold has had a $1,000 rally over the past 18 months. 1,000 for 1 ounce of gold. $1,000 rally. Now, what that's got to do with us? No problem. Before Russia invaded Ukraine, they dramatically increased their purchasing of gold. Why? Because they knew the U.S. would weaponize the dollar through the use of the SWIFT and sanctions. They knew that the United States was going to put sanctions on them, so they bought up all of the gold that they could buy to kind of get things, no matter what happens here, we've got gold. Wow. Okay. So what's happening? China's central bank has been steadily accumulating gold for the past several months. I wonder why. Substantial amounts, 155 tons. Look at this. Every region except Europe reported increases in physical gold holdings in 2024. In other words, everybody's saying, we better get on this. Let's go a little further. China is the largest purchaser of gold, and this is why. No one can stop China's reunification with Taiwan. That's what the Chinese president said in his New Year's speech on December 31st. He said, we're going to get it. We're going to get it. And we're buying the gold so you won't be able to do sanctions against us. Or if you do, it won't matter. In the last year, Beijing has stepped up military pressure near Taiwan. The last thing I've seen about that before I came here is they've got some barges they've created that actually are war barges, where they actually can just float right up, and they got everything already planned in the barges on how to take over Taiwan. At the same time as this increased military operation, so we're seeing the military stuff happen, but look, record gold prices have not deterred China. Unreported. So we looked at the other gold that they had reported. Unreported gold that China is buying is 110 tons in September and October of 2024. 110 tons? And that's the unreported part. Look at this. Russia's foreign exchange assets were frozen by the West in early 2022. So China said, you know what? We've seen what they did to Russia. We're going to make sure that we have all our stuff in gold already. Will 2025 be the year when China finally pulls the trigger and invades Taiwan? When it does happen, and it's going to happen, we will instantly be at war with China. Because if I'm not mistaken, about 90% of all chips are made in Taiwan. Again, one of the things I don't understand about our... All right, see there? No problem, you know. You know what I don't understand about. Right now, people are having a problem because, okay, all of this is happening, you know, why are we calling companies back from overseas? My question is, why did we let them go over there in the first place? Why would we allow somebody else to make the chips that we use in our military? I served in the military. I don't understand why we give money to the people who say death to America. Why would we do that? That's not diplomacy. If you don't like me, you don't get my money. How many people do you give your money to that don't like you? This is not rocket science. This is not hard. You don't like us? No problem. But I think now people don't understand that what's really happening. People hate America. They hate us with a passion. They want what we have, but they don't like us. We've done some things for them not to like us. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong now. I've seen some things, okay? I want to talk about Fort Knox just for a minute. Just for a minute. If you've watched anything or you heard some stuff on the news or whatever, you might have seen that they've talked about the gold in Fort Knox. You know, maybe when I was growing up, they used to say, you know, if you had something secret, they said, you know, that's tighter than Fort Knox, you know. The terminology they was using to say it's really secure. What's interesting there's an audit. They're trying to do an audit. Elon Musk is trying to do an audit. And people are giving a lot of flack about that. I don't know if you knew this. In Fort Knox listen, in the 1950s was, I think, when the last real audit was done. They had another one, a partial audit, in 1974, but it wasn't really an audit. It was, what do you call those things when they just make an appearance? It was like a cameo, but there's another word. I can't think of the word. One of the things, what Juan said, it was a cameo there. We'll go with that. Okay. They'd done a partial audit in 1974, with the United States holding the world's largest gold reserve, supposedly, estimated at over 8,100 tons. An audit would provide reassurance about the actual state of the assets. Now, I want to show you something. I don't know if you knew this. On July 19th, 2021, the Reserve Bank of Australia confirmed the presence of fake gold bars at the Bank of England. You know, it ain't too cool when you go to look at your inventory and find out it's fake. How long has it been fake? And where is my money now? So, how important is an audit now for the United States? If a review is conducted, any discrepancy between the reserves in Fort Knox and the figures that have been reported could send shockwaves through the global gold markets, which will affect every other market. So it's a big deal. I just want to know, why is it so bad to audit it? What's wrong with that? I mean, I'm sorry, let me do one other thing. That's the money that belongs to the people of the United States. That's not the government's money. That's ours. So if it's not there, you've been robbed. Now, I'm going to talk about something in a minute, but I want to give some tips for dispelling fear and misinformation about precious metals. Number one, you can't buy a loaf of bread with a bar of gold. I hear that with people that, told when we've talked about precious metals and stuff, I hear people say that. You can't buy a loaf of bread with a bar of gold. Truth, you are absolutely correct. More than likely, you will be able to buy the bakery and the block that the bakery is on with that bar of gold. You are absolutely correct. Fear. This is what people say. I do not know how or where to get precious metals from. Truth. Each one of us had to learn something that we currently know. The Bible says in Acts 17:11, these were more noble than those in Thessalonica, in that they received the word with all readiness of mind and searched the scriptures daily whether those things were so. Investigate stuff that you don't know. You've done that all your life. Misinformation. My savings, checking, investments, 401k, 403b are safe. Truth. Thanks to the Dodd-Frank Act, if you happen to hold your money in a savings or checking account at a bank and that bank collapses, it can legally freeze and confiscate your funds for the purposes of maintaining its solvency. You don't believe it's true? Go look up the act. Just Google the Dodd-Frank Act. Proverbs 27:23 says, be thou diligent to know the state of thy flocks and to look well to thy herds, for riches are not forever, and doth the crown endure to every generation. You need to check out your stuff. You need to know stuff. So many people put money in retirement and all of these things, and they let somebody else take care of it. Just take care of that. You just leave. You don't know what it's doing. What is it going to be? Is it really there? I sat in a seminar with a guy one time, and he literally lost $90,000, and he's sitting in that. I know that's maybe that don't sound like a lot of money. That was his retirement, and he's at retirement age, and it's like, well, what do I do now? You gave it to somebody else to look at that. What does the scripture say? Be diligent to know the state of your flocks. This is your flocks. You should know it. Instead of just entrusting to somebody else. I want to talk about value versus price. Value versus price, because people talk about what something costs. I want to know not what it costs, I want to know its value. In 1900, 1 ounce of gold could purchase a fine suit for about $20 or $30. Today, that same 1 ounce of gold can still buy a fine suit, but the suit is priced at over $2,000. What's interesting, the suit itself hasn't changed in value. It hasn't changed in value, but it only changed in price. Why? Because the dollar lost value. Let me show you. In March 22, 2024, 1 year ago, price of silver, $24.68. March 22, 2025. That sounds like today, don't it? This is a little off, because it went down yesterday. But I'm not a great math person, but it looked like 34 is more than 24. That was a 38% increase in 1 year. Paper is poverty. It is only the ghost of money and not money itself. Thomas Jefferson said that. He said that when they were preparing the Constitution. They never were in favor of the current currency that we have. The forefathers didn't favor this. Because the way it's set up, the government can just simply pump more. It made it this time, pump more money in there. It's all the same, right? This is what you hear people say. It's all the same. What do you mean? It don't matter. If it's all the same, watch this. Let's say 60 years ago, 1964, the year I was born, your grandfather gave you an inheritance worth $1,000. He gave you $1,000 60 years ago. Now, he put it in a pretty box, got your name on it. At this moment, you're about to open that box. All right, we're about to open this box. Everybody in here, you have a box. And your grandfather gave you $1,000. Now, inside your box, do you want to see a personal check from 1964 that's made payable to you? Or would you rather find 10 $100 bills? I mean, it's $1,000, right? It's all the same, right? Or would you prefer to find that $1,000 in the form of 4,000 silver quarters? Which will be worth north of $24,000 now. It's not all the same. There's a difference between value and price. What do you have of value? A nickel in 1945 had the value of 5 cents. That same nickel today is worth over $1.87. No big deal, right? A dime in 1964 had the value of 10 cents. That same dime today is worth over $2.40. A quarter in 1964 was 25 cents. That same 1964 quarter today is over $6. Kennedy half dollar, y'all remember them? A lot of our parents kept those for whatever reason. You got to remember, when they were saving them, they had no real significance to them. A Kennedy half dollar in 1964 had the value of 50 cents. Today it's over $12. Coins from 1964 and prior are 90% silver. You probably have some in your home now. This is a 1 gram gold bar, approximately the size of a fingernail. Date, August 2023. Cost, $87.55. I mean, we could, we could come up with 87 bucks, right? A 43% increase. Has your digitally vulnerable 401k done that? Everyone in this room can afford this. People say, well, I can't afford gold. Really?